The issues affecting you. Revealed, explained, discussed. Now on WGAL 8 in Focus.
Hello, I'm Susan Shapiro. A Lancaster County teenager, the newly crowned Miss Lancaster County, is on a mission. She wants more people to give blood. We first brought you Catherine Davis's story last year when she encouraged donations at Lampeter Strasburg High School. Catherine was inspired to help after surviving a bus crash in 2021, carrying teenagers home from a youth retreat. More than 30 people were injured, several critically in the crash in Schuylkill County. Today, we'll talk about her mission and we'll speak with the executive director of the American Red Cross Greater Pennsylvania region. We're putting blood donation in focus. Joining us now is Catherine Davis, Miss Lancaster County 2026. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's really an honor. What made you want to go for Miss Lancaster County?
My journey started in the fall of 2023 when I competed for the Lampeter Strasburg Fair Queen and I lost. Kind of experiencing that didn't make me want to give up. I kind of wanted to keep going. I found the Miss Lancaster County Scholarship Organization and I decided to compete with no pageant experience whatsoever, basically. That led to me being crowned Miss Lancaster County's teen in 2024, then competing for Miss Pennsylvania's teen, placing in the top 8. The next year I was Miss Greater Reading's teen in 2025, and I also completed Miss Pennsylvania's teen in the top 8, and now here I am, Miss Lancaster County, and I hope to be the next Miss Pennsylvania.
Oh, well, we hope so.
Yes.
That's great. And you had a lot of competitors, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Very experienced competitors. So that made winning so meaningful because I came from nothing, basically. And I kind of pulled myself up by my bootstraps and did it with grit and determination.
Oh, well, good for you. And what was your talent for that?
My talent is a lyrical dance routine that I kind of mix with a like slam poetry-esque type song, so I dance to a voiceover of me telling my story.
Oh, that's great. And you have quite a story to tell.
I do.
So your platform is Phlebotomy Femme. Tell me about that.
So Phlebotomy Femme encourages family blood donation, and when we say family blood donation, we don't mean exactly your sister or your brother or your mom. For me, it happens to be my mom that I go and donate blood with. But we really mean people you trust, people who have donated blood, because for a lot of people, blood donation can be scary. They're really fearful of needles or medical malpractice. And so doing that scary thing with someone you love and someone you trust and someone who has experience really makes it a lot easier and a lot more fun to give.
Yeah, no, that's great that you give. So as part of your platform, do you go to blood drives or how does that work?
I do. So a lot of people ask me if my main goal is to create more blood drives, but our problem isn't really the amount of blood drives we have, it's the participants. We are currently in a critical national blood shortage, with only 3% of the eligible population donating their blood. And that is just mind-boggling to me that we have this opportunity to give and a lot of people choose not to.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, some people might be scared. There is hesitancy there. What would you tell people about donating blood?
I would say to take the chance and do it. If I didn't take the chance and compete for Miss Lancaster County's teen or Miss Lancaster County, I wouldn't be here right now being able to serve my community. I would say just take a deep breath and focus on the positives of giving. You can save up to 3 lives. You get free merchandise. I have gotten lunch boxes. I have gotten umbrellas. I have gotten movie theater tickets. Do you know how expensive those are today?
Yes, I do.
It's crazy. And then you get unlimited free snacks, which is awesome.
So there's good incentives,
there
right?
is.
That's great. And you're fitting this all in while going to college.
Yes, I'm doing my best. I have a really great work-life balance where I have everything. I live by Google Calendar. Everything I have is by Google Calendar. So I organize my PT schedule, my physical training schedule with being an ROTC cadet, and kind of when I need to do schoolwork and when I need to drive home to do my job as Miss Lancaster County.
That's a lot to fit in.
It is, but
yeah.
I love it so much.
Oh, that's so great. What aren't you doing?
Exactly. It's a great question. I'm not sleeping. That's what it is.
There you go. Well, your family must be so proud.
Oh, I have the best support system in the entire world. They're really amazing.
What do you hope this platform does, and how do you hope it makes a difference?
I hope it encourages people to face their fears and to keep going no matter what challenges they face. Not let anything hold them back from achieving their dreams.
Oh, well, you're so sweet. We're going to talk more about the inspiration that came from this. Was a very serious accident you
Yes,
were
it
involved
was.
in. We'll talk about that when we come back.
This is WGAL 8 in Focus, coverage you can count on.
We continue our conversation with Catherine Davis, Miss Lancaster County 2026, whose platform is Phlebotomy Fam, a way to get more people to donate blood. You were inspired because you were involved, along with many other students, in a very serious bus crash in 2021. What do you remember from that crash? What happened?
I remember I was watching videos on my phone, just hanging out, really excited after a amazing weekend at a youth group retreat, and I kind of felt the bus lurch. I immediately knew something was wrong, and kind of looking outside the window, seeing debris and hearing gasps and people's live reactions to it, and I was kind of in shock for a second, but I remember thinking, this is not how I die. This is not the end of the road for me. So I put myself in the fetal position, I put my knees to my chest, and I felt eerily calm. I felt kind of surrounded by silence when all there was noise around me, kind of that juxtaposition. The next thing I remember is waking up to, of course, screams and 911 calls. And one of the things I distinctly remember was seeing the sun through the bus window and seeing it through the trees and thinking, that's so pretty. And I remember in that moment just saying, thank you, God, for that beautiful sun, before I kind of realized what had just happened. I immediately got up and I saw smoke behind me, and being the daughter of a Marine, EMT, and firefighter, all things that my dad does.
Right, you were well prepared for an emergency.
I was very well prepared. So I kind of have to climb over people to the emergency exit window, which truly, I am a testament to those drills are not a waste of time, because I was able to push out the emergency exit window and jump into the arms of my youth group leader, who was following behind us in her car. And that woman, her name is Jill. She is my hero. She was able to catch me and take me down by the road to where the ambulances were.
Wow, that must have been so scary.
It definitely was, but in that moment I wasn't sitting in fear. I was taking action, kind of. Yeah.
You suffered an injury.
I did.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So I suffered a severe concussion, which ended up being really hard. I feel like concussions are so normalized that, like, we see people get concussions all the time. And because it's kind of invisible, it's illegitimized. I faced a lot of backlash for having to take breaks and not being able to handle my school's lighting. I was still a sophomore in high school at this time. And teachers and my peers not understanding why I needed extra time on assignments or exams. And I just remember taking a step back and breathing, telling myself that it's okay that people don't understand, and continuing on with my rehabilitation and just focusing on getting better instead of focusing on people's negative opinions about the concussion.
Well, you certainly have a positive attitude. How about today? Does it still affect you?
It does. I kind of have a hard time under very bright lights, especially like overhead fluorescent lighting. No, this is fine because it's only for a short period of time. But I find myself in school, I go to college right now, walking down the hallways and getting major headaches, or I wake up with migraines, or I really have to limit my screen time because that will really affect me. And even just regular things, being in an accident now, driving a car and getting my license a couple years ago was really hard, because driving on the highways, kind of putting yourself back in that situation, was really scary, and I was
Probably a
scared it
little
was going to-
PTSD
Exactly.
too. So how did that whole experience inspire you to, get this platform for blood donation?
So not only am I a fourth generation blood donor, which also inspired this, I grew up watching my mom and my grandfather donate blood, and I thought that was a really normal thing. You just go with your mom to the blood bank and she gives you extra snacks and all of those things. After the accident, seeing the real life power of blood donation and the impact that it had on my peers with them needing blood donation, I didn't know how uncommon it was. So that really kickstarted my mother and I to create Phlebotomy Fam before I even knew about pageants. We just created it as a fun little thing to get people to get people to donate blood.
Some of your peers were very seriously injured. Yeah.
Yes, I'm very lucky.
Yeah. Do you still keep in touch with them about, you have a bond,
I do.
that experience, I guess?
We'll comment on each other's Instagram posts, and the anniversary of the accident was in September, and we always send each other messages of hope and love, and we always check in on each other, and it's really great.
That's great. Stay with us. Coming up, we'll talk with the American Red Cross about what it means to the organization to have Catherine's platform.
This is WGAL 8 in Focus, coverage you can count on.
We continue our conversation with Catherine Davis, Miss Lancaster County 2026, and we're joined by Laura Burke, the Executive Director at the American Red Cross Central Pennsylvania chapter. Thanks for being here, Laura.
Thank you for having me.
What's it like to the American Red Cross to have a young person like this promoting blood donation?
It's really remarkable. What we see at blood drives lately is a great population of people coming in to roll up their sleeves, donate blood. Generally, it does skew to the older generation, so folks that are maybe 55 and older. And what we've really tried to do as a Red Cross specifically is engage those younger generations in the conversation. So having an ambassador in Catherine promote this message through her channels and her spheres of influence has been just transformative for the cause. And
I imagine in general, young people probably are healthier in some ways than maybe an older population.
I would say that would be true. A lot of what the blood donation process entails is we bring you in and we do have a health screening at the beginning. So we do check your blood pressure, we check your hemoglobin and other health vitals just to make sure that you're ready and able to donate blood. So having folks that are generally speaking healthier makes that process that they'll get to that blood donation table, a higher likelihood of that.
Catherine also mentioned the snacks you give out too. They're
pretty good.
They're really good.
And some prizes that are really good. Catherine, what do you tell other young people that you may encounter about the need for blood and why they should be a donor?
Yeah, I really let them know of all of the benefits. Not only are you getting a health screening that could help you later on knowing your health information, you get free snacks and you get to help other people, which community service is kind of lacking in my generation, and that's another reason why I do this, is I really want to boost those levels of the younger generation helping others.
Now, you mentioned it's a family thing for you. Your family members have also donated blood. That probably is how it happens, Laura, that it's continued in families, but I guess you need to get other people as well.
I'm going to use that Phlebotomy Fam.
Yeah, it's good.
Phrase. It's pretty good. And it does ring true. Seeing, behaviors and community service modeled in whatever family unit you grow up in, it shows that that's kind of the culture that you create within that family to continue that service. Speaking personally, my mom was a phlebotomist at one point, and I used to go visit her in the blood bank and see, the impact of blood donation, and it makes it more impactful to see what I'm doing here today. It makes a difference in patient lives. So it is a family conversation, and it's a behavior that you then model for your family and the generations to come.
Adding to that, I donate because my mom donated. She donates because her dad donated blood. He donates because his dad donated blood. It's really something that can last generations if you just keep up that spirit of giving.
And you've also developed, a blood donation kind of reminder
thing
for
my
people?
Blood donation rotation. Thank you very much.
Aww.
So there are about 8 weeks in between the time that you can donate blood, as well as about 8 colors in the rainbow. So what I came up with is we assign each week a color of the rainbow. So say you look on Phlebotomy Fam and it's Red Week and you go donate blood. You then know that you are a Red Week donor. So instead of remembering, oh, how many days has it been since I donate blood, which kind of is how people fall out of the blood donation habit, is because you kind of have to wait a little bit before you can donate.
Oh, that's a great idea, isn't it?
I mean, I should have brought my notebook to
Yes.
just kind of
Right,
jot down some of these tips. I love that.
Yeah. Laura, when you hear Catherine's story about what happened to her, what's your reaction to that?
It's remarkable. It's remarkable, and truly something so traumatic that happened that she was a part of and witness to, and taking that trauma and turning it into something that is so positive and makes a difference in the lives of all the people in the community. It's a beautiful thing to see, and it's what we want to see more of in this world. And I just give you all the kudos in the world for what you've been
it's
able
so
to
inspiring, as I say,
Yeah.
to see a young person like that really putting themselves out there like that. Well, stay with us. We'll talk more about where this blood goes and how important it is.
This is WGAL 8 in Focus, coverage you can count on.
We continue our conversation with Laura Burke, the Executive Director at the American Red Cross Central Pennsylvania chapter. We talked a little about the health requirements. Who can donate blood?
Anyone who's healthy and able, truly, and over the age of actually 16 with consent in Pennsylvania. So we've been engaging a lot of different high schools and colleges to try to get that message out there. The process is, I think, a very simple one. It's about an hour start to finish on average. We talked about the health screening that you get at the beginning of the appointment, and we make it very easy for you. You're on the table roughly 10 to 20 minutes, depending on the type of donation, and then, as Catherine mentioned, the fun part of the snacks is the conclusion of that appointment.
Right, and as we said, some great giveaways sometimes. We often hear about blood shortages. So why is that, and what's being done to combat that?
Well, the need for blood is constant, and it's important to note that it can only come from volunteer donors. We can't manufacture it, and we also can't stockpile it because it has a shelf life. And that's why the need is constant for healthy and able donors to roll up their sleeve. I believe Catherine mentioned earlier that only 3 out of 100 people currently donate blood, and the reason that they cite as to why they aren't donating blood is because they're not being asked. So having ambassadors to help spread the message about the importance of blood donation is exactly what we need right now.
It's not so much that they think it's scary or it's going to take too much time.
There's a
but
variety of reasons, and at least for the Red Cross, at the Red Cross, we really try to put people at ease, and we make it a really enjoyable process from start to finish.
I know you have great people that are working there and helping the folks. Why is it so important? Where is this blood going? We heard about, an accident and where there might be trauma and the need for blood. Where else?
So you think about all those trauma situations. Obviously, when blood is needed most, sometimes there isn't time to type someone. So, they're going to grab, blood off the shelf. O negative is a universal donor. So if you do have O negative blood, I would say make that appointment today, please, because that's what's grabbed first. But, we really need all blood types. And it's really important that we're continuing to spread that message.
Where else is it used? I've heard in pregnancy often?
So often women who are experiencing maybe a more difficult childbirth, cancer patients, it's done for therapies, and then really specifically sickle cell patients. So people who have sickle cell anemia can sometimes get up to 100 transfusions, and it's really important that we're continually replenishing the blood supply to support those therapies.
I guess it might not be something you think about till you're in need.
It's true, people don't realize that they may know someone that has had a transfusion, or they may need a transfusion in the short future, and you hope that's never the case. But I think we've all been personally affected by people who have needed a transfusion at least once in their life.
Yeah, or in the need for, that's why I say you don't know if you're going to be in a terrible accident where you might need blood.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you like to say to folks about if they, have that donation hesitancy?
I'd say check it out. RedCrossBlood.org is our website, and there's a great section where it's just FAQs. So go in there, scroll some of the frequently asked questions, and learn about, you might get your question answered. Learn about the process. It's okay to check out a blood drive first before maybe taking that leap to make that donation appointment. Catherine mentioned going with a buddy. Go with a buddy, check it out. There's no pressure. And then if you think you're you're feeling comfortable and ready to do it, I'd say let's go and make that appointment. We have blood drives all across our footprint. Wherever it's convenient for you, we can have a blood drive. If it's your home, if it's your work, it's where maybe you're involved in community events, you can make a Red Cross donation appointment.
And as Catherine mentioned, we don't necessarily need more blood drives. We need more people to show up at the blood drives you already have, I guess.
Yeah, the more the merrier. You know, if we have the space, the Red Cross makes it very easy. Even if you're a facility that's like, oh, I want to do something to impact the community, maybe what could that be? If you have, 1,200 square feet of space, host your own blood drive and invite your community to come and take part in this great process. We're always looking for hosts as well. And the fun part is bringing the community together for a good cause. You never know whose life you might save someday.
Yeah. And as we heard, it might be a little scary, but it's completely painless, right?
I would say it is not what people expect. So I would say I've heard from a number of people who have given blood and donated recently. I talked to folks at blood drives and they say, wow, I was expecting it to be a little bit more scary than it was. That was really easy. Your team made it so comfortable. We play music, we have conversation. Like it's a really enjoyable experience, and we do our best at the Red Cross to ease any concerns.
And how long does the whole process take, would you say?
I'd say between 40 minutes and an hour, depending on the type of blood you give. For a whole blood donation, I'd say about 45 to an hour.
All right, you can sit back and relax.
Sit back and relax.
Laura, thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You can find out more on where and how to give blood by going to the American Red Cross website, redcross.org, and look under Give Blood. Thank you for joining us for WGAL 8 in Focus. For all of us at WGAL, I'm Susan Shapiro. Join us again next Sunday morning at 11 o'clock for WGAL 8 in Focus, right after NBC's Meet the Press. And you can watch each episode of In Focus, plus WGAL's latest newscast, original programming, and more. Just download the Very Local app and stream for free on Roku and Amazon Fire TV.